So the millennials are actually pushing us in terms of employment. They're pushing us a little bit on career opportunity, which implies training. They're pushing us on life balance. I don't want to give my soul to the company, I want to have a life. They're pushing us on flexibility. They're pushing us on group work versus individual work. They're pushing us on the definition of success and capability and competence. It's not necessarily equated to face time, number of hours worked. They're pushing us on intellectual property. I see nodding back there. Their definition of what's yours and what's mine is different than my definition of that stuff. Knowledge is to be shared, not hoarded. Knowledge is to be shared, not valued, not paid for. So we end up then with these wonderful young people with all this energy and who I hope to goodness will help us reinvent the way in which we do work, because I think they've got some good ideas. And yet they've got ideas that are putting them at odds with some of the ways in which we have traditionally managed, that actually present ethical dilemmas as we manage them. The five sort of, not necessarily ethical dilemmas, but opportunities that I identified. Number one, millennials work well with others, but not so well independently. Right? What do we do about that? Do we do anything about that? How do we turn that into an advantage for us? Number two, millennials are ambitious and want to advance, but not necessarily within the same company. You know, why should a company pay for training if the person's going to leave? On the other hand, if you don't pay for training, the person's going to leave. Number three, millennials seek advancement and life balance. Is this possible? What would this look like? How would we define this? Number four, millennials want to do good in the world. How do we monetize that for the firm? How do we turn that into value for the firm? How do we take advantage of that? And number five, millennials don't share the values of boomers who predominate in the workplace and particularly predominate as bosses in the workplace. What do we do about that? Everybody in this room can tell a story, right? Everybody in this room can tell a story about how things didn't mesh quite right between the more mature, experienced employees and the younger ones coming in. And so even if we can't point to the definitive study, this is my University of Chicago training, if it's not empirically demonstrated, then it's not real. But even though we can't point to a particular study that says definitively this is exactly how everybody's different, in our guts, we all have a story. We have a lot of anecdotal data. So I'm going to ask you to take a journey with me today, and that is to assume that there are some differences and that we can think intelligently about how we make hay with those differences, that we don't resist them, that we don't get upset by them, but that we work with them, incorporate them into how we manage, and maybe come out better for it in the end.